The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson at Blurnsball.
Futurama!
Hello there. Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting premiere podcast, TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And over there is my hetero life mate and brother from another mother. Ladies and gentlemen, they call him on the internet Sons of Anarchy, but you can just call him Jesse. How do you do, sir?
Oh, Mark Radulich, back again to talk some Sons of Anarchy. Maybe I should work that in my name somehow.
Can I ask you a question?
You can.
Who rides the motorcycle? Me or you? And who rides in
Who rides bitch?
Who rides bitch, or like in or in the the derp compartment?
The derp compartment. Can I be in a sidecar? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Is
the
that a
sidecar.
Okay,
That's
all
the
right.
derp compartment. You can
Yeah,
call
you
it a
go
sidecar,
right.
though.
You obviously are the driver here, sir. I am the one that's riding alongside you and at your mercy, apparently.
Apparently, it's like an abusive relationship. I'm sorry. Yeah. Jesse's just like, I have a collar. He gave it to me. I belong to Mark now, and
Right.
I got to do what he says. It's fine.
That's right. Damn it.
When I send you a collar, and Mindy's like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like, don't ask. It's a podcast thing.
I'll put it right there beside my power broker book and everything else you've got me. My little shrine to Mark Radulich.
Your wife has to wonder, like, what is it with you two? Like, it's nothing, dear. He caresses his power book. All right, we are talking Sons of Anarchy season 5. Remember when this was Ronnie's suggestion?
I do. Where's he at?
I guess the lights went out in North Carolina tonight.
Lights went out in Georgia. Nope, North Carolina.
North Carolina. So maybe he'll be on, maybe he won't. I think he actually just sent me a text message regarding his power situation. I told him, like, just come on whenever. He has the link to come in whenever. So let's get into Sons of Anarchy. So we last episode we did seasons 3 and 4, and the discussion with like 3 felt like it had wrapped up a fairly long arc, and we joke that it it didn't feel like they knew whether or not they were coming back. And so when they hit season 4, they knew, when they did season 4, they knew they were going to be around for a while.
Oh yeah.
So as Ronnie put it, and this was so funny to me. Ronnie, I think it was either you or Ronnie who was like, you guys can write a real show now and like develop this over several seasons.
Yeah.
Ronnie. So Jax is now running Sam Crow, and he is under the thumb of not only the Galindo cartel, but the CIA. He has to keep Ron Perlman alive because that's the only link he's got to the Irish, who don't really want to be in business with the Mexicans to begin with, but we're doing it for Clay's benefit. And they'll only work with Clay because they think that Jax is a bit of a hothead. Jax ultimately wants to leave Sam Crow, but he can't just... Everybody, and this goes for Juice, this goes for a couple of different guys, they all kind of come to the same place, which is, we may not want to be in this club, but we don't want the club to ultimately die.
Right.
And the show, as near as I can tell, and I can stop briefly just to kind of bring you in on this topic. If you were to say, what is the show about besides dangerous dudes on motorcycles? It's about this motorcycle club and the soul of it.
Right.
There is a battle for the soul. What is the Sons of Anarchy? Is it a gang? Is it a criminal organization of some kind? Is it just a riding club? Is it a brotherhood? What is it? A family? What is it? And is it an extension of one person's goals and aspirations, ne'er do well as they may be? Because when you think about like Piney's whole argument with the Sons of Anarchy, it was, hey, John Thomas and I had a vision for what this could be, and Clay has been using it as an extension of himself to line his pockets, right, and has taken it far from what we ever intended this to be, and now it's become this really negative, corrupt thing. And Jack's sort of bought in with Piney, but he's also torn at the argument that Clay makes, which is, hey, there's gold in them there hills.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's money to be made here, and quickly if we step on it. And so Jax is in this really weird place. And and I think I was saying the last episode, he's probably the least interesting character in the show. Opie's much more interesting. There are other interesting characters. I don't know. He always struck me as kind of one note. This season, you really get a better sense of what and who Jax is, because Jax very much sees the value in the club continuing to exist, but doesn't think it needs to be or can be this cartel criminal organization.
Right.
And he sees the value in making, and I can certainly sympathize with this, in making a quick buck, but it's to a different end. It's to get out. Sam Crow leads to fast money. Fast money leads to being out of Sam Crow and living his life with Tara and his sons. And that is probably the main thrust of season 5, from what I could tell. It was 13 episodes of Jax figuring out how to get the fuck out of Sam Crow.
Right. Yeah.
How to kind of take this ticking time bomb that Clay left in his lap and think, well, what am I going to do with this? I can't throw it, and I don't want it to blow me up. So how can I use this to my advantage? And by the end, it's funny. By the end, he largely succeeds in dotting every I and crossing every T. And then Tara gets arrested for her, because she's a dummy.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. The idea I have of the Sons, I mean, it sounds like, as you just said, it all started from the idea of one guy, wanting to create a club and just, this is enjoying life with your brothers and making a family and having a club. And then, as a lot of things tend to do, the more people you bring in, the more tendency it has to kind of, or the more chances it has to kind of spin out from your original vision. Go ahead.
What's hilarious about that?
Tell me.
This podcast started off as like me and one other person.
Right.
And there was a vision for what this podcast should be. Certainly, it started with just the 401 Ground and Pound show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even that in and of itself evolved over time, and then it became a completely different thing, and then it wasn't even my podcast anymore. And I started doing shows with Sean and Robert Cooper, and it was okay. We're going to do this one thing. Yeah. And the more people I brought in, the more ideas there were. Like, think about Damn You Hollywood. It's like, hey, I like to go see the big summer blockbusters. I might as well spend an hour talking about them.
Right.
And now look what monster that thing has become.
I just listened to the Bike Riders today, as a matter of fact, to get prepared for this podcast. But very, it's interesting because you had, I think, 2 people that hadn't been on there for at least one. I think was brand new. Another guy hadn't been on there for a while, or at least hadn't been on one of the was on another
Dorian
show.
Has been on a few Damn You Hollywoods, mostly horror related stuff.
Right.
Mac was on the Green Lantern on trial with Dorian, but he'd never been on Damn You Hollywood. And And I'm not entirely sure Andrew had a computer before last night.
What is this internet thing? Why do I keep freezing? I am not a cat.
Dorian made me come here. I don't want to be here.
He was having a good time. He just couldn't exactly express it because he was freezing up every single time. But no, so to your point, what you're saying there is that these are people that have come in and they've want to talk about things, and they've also had the experience with Dorian. Dorian's got some great ideas, even just for source material. He's talked to me about. I've had him on one show. So yeah, you're bringing in people.
We bring in a person for one show, and it's just like, I would like you to redo everything, rethink this entire concept.
I am one of those people too. I'm not saying, because I was once a fan myself of this network and became a part of it, so I understand where they're coming from. Sure. But yeah, it's exactly that. It is evolved, and you have so many more ideas now. To tie it back to what's going on with Sam Crow, those ideas, and I'm sure you could identify with the want to make this profitable, something like this. We'd love to make money doing what we're doing here by doing podcasts, but Sam Crow's got a different idea of how to make money, and they can make money, but it's not exactly legal.
I remember,
when
Jason and Pat would talk about gambling, and it was like, I want to make money too. And it never goes nearly as well as or they only talk about their wins.
You're only going to hear the good stuff.
Yeah, so I never hear how Jason lost, the rent money, betting on football, or Pat, lost money on this or that thing, or how many they said, oh, I could have made money on that, but didn't actually bet. They would occasionally brag about their wins, and I go, well, I want to make that money too. Thinking about Clay's character, and he's looking at the one-niners, he's looking at the Mayans, he's looking at all of these different entities, and he's going, why not me?
Why not?
And he's like, I can get large arms from the Irish and sell them to the Mexicans and make myself more money than we ever could by selling to rival motorcycle gangs, or these penny ante ghetto gangs here in Northern California. And Clay's very much a villain in this show.
Oh, very much, yeah.
There's not a whole lot. It's funny because it's like, it's one of the deficits of television where if one of your main cast members is also more or less the main villain of the show, but you can't kill him, you can't send him away. He's not the villain of the season. He's not like a Stahl, or whoever the U.S. assistant U.S. Attorney General was last season, the weirdo with the autistic hair. Like they bring in in the Shield, when like the one season it was Forrest Whitaker and his eye, that kind of a thing. You have to find a reason to keep him around, despite the fact that he's a bag of shit, and at any given time, in all reality, they'd have shot him dead.
Right.
Shot him dead.
Right.
But because they can't shoot him dead, and because they have to keep him around, they also have to give you a reason to buy into his character. So it's like it's same thing with Katie Seagal's character. You mostly hate them. You mostly think they're terrible. But if it's 100% terrible, then you lose the buy-in of the audience. So all of that to say, Clay's whole thing is like, I never meant for this to be a long-term thing. I just wanted to make money very, very fast and then get out and then leave.
Yeah, but also
I don't want to be here anymore.
Be involved in the killing of the guy that had the original vision for the club in the first place. That's what makes Clay such a villain, is the fact that he's the one that kind of introduced this into Sam Crow. He's also the one that kind of took an effort to eliminate the people that had the actual, vision that wasn't anywhere near. It wasn't as illegal for sure. I mean,
it's funny because that's Bobby's whole argument at the end of the season with Jax. Okay, for those of you watching, the format of this show is Jesse and I just fucking talk.
Welcome to a podcast, folks.
we don't go episode by episode, and some things that lend themselves to more thematic talk, we go that way. But I have learned that this is just a soapy drama. So essentially, welcome to watching two friends talk. This is Jesse and I are just chit chatting for an hour about our favorite show. Anyway, so that's Bobby's whole argument at the end of the season when Jax is basically like, I'm gonna kill Clay. He is dead. DED dead.
And everybody's like, do it. I mean, that's what I mean. I should say the audience is anyway.
Clay's mom shows up and is just like, kill him. I should have killed him in the womb.
Here's the gun.
Yeah, his third grade principal is just like, that bastard. He should take everyone's lunch money. Bobby's whole thing that Jax is killing people to get ahead is one of the things that killed this club.
Right.
Or is killing this club.
Right.
Killing people to get ahead is what drove Clay away from being the man he once was and becoming the devil.
Yeah. This is a very, you're looking at Jax in that crucial moment. Is he going to be or turn out like Clay? Right. Even though he's thinking that he's not going to, that's the furthest that he wants to be. He wants to be as far away from Clay as possible. But
Clay is like the ghost of Christmas future for Jax.
Right. But it seems like no matter what he tries to do, as far as he wants to try and get away from it, all of a sudden you start seeing in this season, he's got more of the tendencies that Clay seems to have, even though he's trying to step away from it. It's kind of scary.
Well, so in a sort of a J.J. Abrams mystery box, lots of threads thrown out there, manner in which the show tends to operate. One of the things they set up was a carryover from, I believe it was the previous season, where what's Clay's buddy's name that ran over the girl?
Oh my goodness! You talking about? Nope. I don't know off the top of my head. We're going to have to either go to the internet or you're going to have to.
I have the cast here.
Okay.
Wayne Tig.
Oh, Tig. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So Tig ran over I believe it was the sheriff's daughter.
Sheriffs? You talking about Pope?
No. Okay. So the woman that Tig ran over.
When she was eating.
With the guy from the One-Niners.
Right. Yeah. This is Pope's daughter.
Okay.
The crime lord.
Okay. So I know the sheriff's wife also gets killed too.
Sheriff's. Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, she gets killed in the home invasion that Clay set up.
I was confusing the two incidents. Okay, so
I got you.
So going back, so Tig thinking that black people shot Clay when it was actually Opie, because they were covering for them at the time.
Oh yeah.
Because Tig's a moron, forces Tig to go after the One-Niners, and he decides the best way to do this is to drive into an outdoor cafe and run her the fuck over. And this is Pope's daughter.
Yeah, I don't think his target was her. I think it was the guy. The guy she was having lunch with, but she ended up being an unfortunate casualty, which was a very unfortunate casualty.
So that leads to this season. So we have Harold Perrineau, who's a big time television actor. He's in a lot of these type of soapy nighttime dramas.
He was we're talking this is the guy who played Pope. Yeah, he is he's actually one of my favorite actors. We just rewatched all of Lost. He played Michael in Lost.
Where I know him best from is I can't remember. He's the narrator from Oz.
Oh, okay. All right.
The one in the wheelchair.
Gotcha.
So he's like the big time crime boss above the One-Niners, and he has legitimate businesses, but he's also a crime lord. That's
everybody's scared of this guy. Everybody's scared of this guy.
You've seen this character a zillion times before,
and
so he obviously wants Tig dead, and he burns alive Tig's daughter.
Jeez, right in front of him. I mean, dude, I remember when we were talking last season. I was like, I cannot wait for you to get into season 5 because I really feel like, number one, we start this season on such an insane moment.
Yeah.
And it's just
There's
it's horrifying.
There's a lot of violence in this season.
There is. I just watched I watched a YouTube video of all the kills this season, and ended up, I think, like on screen 33 deaths, and he had a big disclaimer about stuff he didn't count. But anyway, but yeah, that is our first. I think that is our first death. I believe.
The fucking way to go, man. Dig yourself a shallow grave, throw a body in it, and set it on fire, and make their dad watch.
Oh my gosh, man, that was just, it was horrifying.
It's a rough
because
day at the office.
You Tig is such a goof a lot of times, and of course we didn't like him there at the end of, what was it, season 1, where he took out Opie's wife, and he was such, at that point he was kind of like, man, do I forgive this guy? You can't forgive this guy. And then you watch something like that happen, you're just like, well, I don't know if that's pretty bad.
That's
pretty
a bit
rough.
stiff.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
So the whole thing with Pope is, Tig's he wants, and I think it's initially he's going to kill Tig too, but then he's like, no, I want Tig to go to jail, so I always know where he is, whenever I think about my daughter. Okay, so it's a very, I was the author of all your pain.
Yeah, I'm going to torture you as long as I can, make your life a living hell.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And you are led to believe, that's where I was going with all this, you are led to believe that Jax is going to sell him up the river.
Oh, man. What a moment.
Jax is like the greatest strategist since fucking George Washington.
Because not only does he do that, but he pulls off some other stuff along with it.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I wanted to talk about real quick. Jax is, I got mad ups for Jax this season. Mad respect.
Right.
Well done, bud.
Hey, good job.
Because he spent the first 4 seasons kind of chasing his tail. He's the last one to find out about the letters. He's the last one to find out about this. He's kind of under Clay's thumb. At one point, Clay's like, if you bring up blah blah yakety schmackety one more time, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Jack, he's got a naggy wife trying to pull him out, of the fucking motorcycle club, going, Ricky, why don't you take me to the club? He's just beset on all sides by nonsense, just utter nonsense. He can't find his way to fresh air. He's just drowning the whole time. And this is the first season where you really get to see Jax come into his own. So demonstrative of that, you are led to believe that he's going to sell Tig up the river. And not only, and he is right there. Tig is like, well, I'm dead, to the point where he took his, what they call it, a cut. They took his vest. And this was just a legit setup so that Jax could kill Pope and a bunch of his goons and pin it on Clay.
Yep.
Who, because no one has forgiven him for beating the shit out of Katie Seagal. And then I think holding on to legal paperwork, and Clay Clay this season was responsible for getting the nomads to do home invasions.
Yeah.
That I think
killing the sheriff's wife.
Yeah, that resulted in killing the sheriff's wife.
Accidentally, that wasn't his plan, but still, it resulted in Sheriff Roosevelt. There
was a couple of different things the nomads did that caused Jax, heartburn. And so that all gets dealt with. But so it's despite the fact that Clay was told, behave yourself, you're on thin ice with all of us, he's still trying to undermine Jax. He's still doing all of this shit. He's making life harder for everybody. And Jax, having been told by Bobby, do not kill this man, do not become him, goes, fine, I won't. And instead frames him for murder. And there's mom, Miss Family, Katie Seagal, going, he went out to buy cigarettes. I didn't know when he was coming back. And you could just, dude, acting is such a great thing when it's done well. Ron Perlman's subtle sigh.
Oh yeah.
When he knows she's not gonna stick up. Because it's one of those things, and I've seen this in The Wire, and I've seen this in Oz and some other shows, where you have gotten away with so much crap, and the thing you're going to go to prison for is something you didn't actually do. You remember with Omar, Omar gets framed for killing or shooting at and robbing the fat face, not
right?
Fat face, the guy, Ugly Andre, whatever the fuck they call him, Big Head Andre. I don't remember.
He was the guy that owned the little store.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think it was like Ugly Face Andre or something
I
like
would say
that.
Fat Face, maybe. I'm gonna
No,
have to
because
look
that's
that up
Fat Face
now.
Rick. I remember
Oh.
Fat Face Rick.
Okay.
Anyway, we're gonna go with Ugly Andre until I can
sounds
remember
good.
actually who he is. Anyway, so Omar, Chris and Snoop get in there and they shoot the place up and they shoot the delivery gal and they rough up Ugly Face Andre, and then they go tell him Omar did it. And so Omar with witnesses and everything else say, yeah, you're going to prison for armed robbery. And Omar and so when he calls out the Bunk, and Bunk's like, motherfucker, you have killed a lot of people. I have open murders on you. So I'm like, okay, you didn't do this one, so the fuck what? Your luck finally ran out. You're going up the river for something. Who cares? And almost like, when I get caught for the things I did, I will own up to it and go to prison like a man. But I didn't do this, and that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And rounding that all the way back to Clay, Ron Perlman's character, he's done so much shit and gotten away with it and has skirted death more times than I'm sure he cares to recount. But the thing he's going to go to prison for is the thing he didn't actually do, has no part of, didn't even know it happened.
He has no clue.
That's fucking brilliant.
It is. It really is. Jax pulled that off so well. I mean, when that happened at the end, it took me a few seconds too, is what's crazy. Because when the reveal happens, I'm like, what is going on? Wait, what happened? And then finally I start piecing it together and I was like, holy crap, that was brilliant. That was really good stuff. Yeah.
How about Jax thinking in 4 dimensions?
Right, dude. He's playing 4D chess. He's ahead of you 2 steps. And
he sets up the Chinese with the Mexicans and is like, hey, you're gonna take this over from the Irish because the Irish are utterly impossible to deal with. So instead, and they're just like, yeah, that's great. We supply terrorists with weapons. We can get you weapons too. It's just gonna take a minute. And they're like, okay, this works. And the fucking Galindo cartel is just Danny Trujillo having no more patience with anyone. I have had enough, and I'm taking what I want, and I'm not paying for it.
I'm here. Give me the guns, please.
I will not pay a lot for this muffler. I am done.
Right.
And Jack's just like, can anything go right? Can anything just go the way I planned it?
Dude, that whole meet in the barn. I mean, it's just where he's sitting there, and they both show up, and he's like, he's trying. Number one, first off, he's got to try and make this work in order to get at least away from what's going on, but he can't because the Irish just don't trust him. They don't trust him whatsoever. And he's like, look, we both want the same thing here. And then
let's not ignore the mild racism.
Oh, well, okay, that could cause a gun to go off.
The Irish aren't huge fans of the Mexicans,
and they use quite the flowerful language. We'll put it that way.
Just the most poetic racism.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Such beautiful racism.
It is bad. And that just all goes to hell. Hell in a handbasket pretty quickly. But yeah. I mean, Jax, mad respect for what he did this season. Although there's a lot of, as far as his character goes and what he's turning into, again, he wants to get out of this thing and he just can't. And it seems like sometimes now he's like, okay, well, if I can't, I've got to embrace this and try and make it work for me.
Your line from the Metal Hammer room the other night about me in concerts and going out all the time is just like an achievement has appeared on screen. You did it. Jack, if you've ever played like Ivani or any one of these like the role-playing games on your phone, there's all these things you have to
side quests
accomplish. Like build a building, raise it to this level, you get
I got you.
That's sort of thing. Jax completed everything in this chapter. He squashed the beef with the one-niners. He eliminated Pope. He framed Clay for murder. He still has he now has except for maybe Bobby, he has now undying cult-like loyalty from everybody in Sam Crow. Those guys will take a fucking bullet for him.
Yeah.
Like Juice owes him his life. Tig absolutely owes him his life.
Chibs has always got his back.
Yeah, Chibs has always been down for Jax. I mean, and the what do you call it, Shrek, the large he's no longer a prospect, but like he, no problem there. And even Bobby was with Jax up until the very end when he was just like, you skirting the don't murder Clay thing by sending him to prison doesn't really count. You're still now just as much a bag of shit as Clay is, and you are disappointing me, son. I think like what does Bobby do? I think Bobby cuts off his VP patch, right?
Yeah, takes his VP patch off, and I mean, yeah, you're watching him and you kind of understand where he's coming from because you can see that
you were the chosen one. You were supposed to be better than this.
This person is turning into somebody that no matter what you tell them or what's happening right in front of their eyes, they don't see that the decisions that they're making are just leading them down the same path. And I mean, Bobby's got to try and talk some sense into him. But I mean, when you try to talk to somebody, they can't really hear anything. It seems like a lot of stuff that happens to that motorcycle vest or that motorcycle jacket means a lot. And when you see them take the patches off or whatever, it's just, that's a sign. That's a sign that something's wrong.
I was laughing because like there's a whole setup and it's a very big to-do when Clay gets his patch taken. And then he has to have his ink covered.
You got to have that ink. Yeah, man.
And I remember the first season when the one guy, I guess the difference between Clay and the one guy from season 1 is the one guy from season 1 said he was out of the gang when he really wasn't, or vice versa. And so he was being punished. So they legit burned him.
Well, I think that you have to have it removed. If you say you're out, I believe what has to happen is you got to have your ink removed if you say you're out. So that's what happened. That guy never did it. He took his jacket off and they could see he's still got his ink on.
Right. And so like, look, my point is Clay just got a blackened tattoo over his SOA.
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to this motherfucker who they said, we'll either cut it off you. I don't know if you know this or not, but cutting skin off you fucking hurts, Jesse. It could kill you. Yeah. Or we're gonna burn it off of you. This poor motherfucker they gave 3-degree burns to.
Yeah, he's sitting there tied up, and I think he passes out. From the pain, and
they nearly kill him.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Clay, Ron Perlman, man. I mean, say what you will about him. He portrays a tough guy very well, and him just sitting quietly as happy. Like, I don't know. I have a bunch of tattoos. I don't know if you have any. Probably not. You're such a square.
No, my daughter's trying to talk me into getting one though. So that's going to be, we've been trying to figure out what it's going to be. And she came up, she's got a couple friends and they're like, how about a D20? I'm like, no. That's actually an idea. What?
No,
what do I get the barbed wire, Goldberg barbed wire or something? What do I get? What is this? That's sorry. That's the Mark Radulich Especial.
Don't bully me. No, you have to get a comic book.
A comic book? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But that would be tough. That would be tough.
You should
what comic book would it be?
You should get something that says I'm a Jesse.
Oh, I have a shirt that says that. So damn.
That's right.
That's a
good
idea.
You should do like a full ensemble and get I'm a Jesse on your belly.
Just in case they need to identify me. Look at my stomach.
Look at his stomach. He's clearly that's Jesse. It says so on his belly. Last thing I want to talk about before I turn the show over to you, because it's a somber moment. It's like,
yeah, I could tell you were kind of dancing around this, and I imagine I know what's coming.
Yeah, every season kind of has like the lowest point, as you would in any story. It's the lowest point before the heroes start to mount a comeback. So Jax, Tig, I think Chibs and Opie all end up in jail. I don't remember why. But the whole thing is they negotiate their way out, but a sacrifice must be made because Pope is the one calling the shots and Pope's the one that's going to get them out. But Pope, the sacrifice must be in blood. And so basically it's like, pick one. I don't care. I think at this point they hadn't negotiated Tig getting out. I think this is where Jax is like, I need Tig for a while, and then when I'm done, you can have him, and that's fine. But I'm not going to let you all out. One of you has to go, and so it ends up. I can't remember how they landed on this, except for the fact that Opie was there with them. Opie got arrested, and when it was all
Opie ends up punching Roosevelt in the face, so he could go to jail with them.
Right, that's right. Yeah, they were the Chibs, Tig, and Jax went first, and then Opie got himself arrested too. By the way, it doesn't work that way. There's we have a thing called keep separates. You can't if I'm being arrested and Jesse's like, not my mark, and he like grabs his collar, that I gave him because he's my submissive,
right.
and just like hip checks a fucking cop. Now we have to be together. No, the fuck you won't.
I was gonna say we're not sending the tag team into prison together.
Right,
that's not happening.
Brett and Anvil will be separated.
Right.
Anyway, but it was a storytelling thing, and they needed to do it for convenience. It's fine. So anyway, so Opie's there, and basically the guard's like, here's how you're gonna get murdered. You're gonna fight to the death, and eventually you'll just be overwhelmed and die. You'll get killed. And Opie goes out like a fucking champ, but yeah, they cave his fucking skull in.
Yeah, man. And what a rough. That was, I mean, as far as impactful episodes of the season, that is only episode 3 this season. So, and man, I don't know. You have already said Opie was your favorite character. And I will say that I know other people that watched this show before I watched it told me that Opie was their favorite character. And watching him go out like this was really tough because they beat him to death. And you watch, I knew it was coming because I had on the periphery, probably my wife said something about it way prior to me even watching the season. But I knew it was coming and I was like, oh boy, how bad is this going to be? It's bad. When the 7-foot big bruiser grabs a pipe and takes it to the back of your head, you're done. Yep. And he just, he lays himself out there.
They kill him later. They get their revenge, but like that's a rough watch.
Yeah, it is because they don't stop. Like they hit him. You see I was waiting for the impact to happen. Like when it comes to TV, I'm usually okay. I have no problem with much violence, but I knew that this was going to go down. And I think that's what got into my head because I was like, something bad's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. And when the impact of that pipe hit the back of his head, it made me kind of cringe a little bit just because.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take him out. Jax has to sit there and watch. No, he knows that his best friend is going to get killed.
Well, he's also overwhelmed with guilt for everything that's happened to Opie. And Opie just comes out the loser. Like he loses his dad, loses his wife, and they just keep telling Opie more sacrifices. Opie, you're not quite done giving blood to this club that has done nothing but hurt you.
Right.
He's already, and like when we meet Opie at the start of the series, he's coming home from prison and he's trying to do good. And he's another one, the lure of fast money. And I'll tell you, having spent most of my life financially on my ass, like I get it. Like you'll find no more sympathetic audience member than me about the plight of people trying to make a fast buck because life just keeps throwing hurdles in their way.
Right.
And look, some of it's their own bad decision making. Some of it was my own bad decision making. But there are certain situations where I should be a lot further along than I am. And then I think about like, gosh, how can I improve my situation really, really fast? There is no other way other than like luck. And if I had any luck, if I had any luck, I wouldn't be saying these things.
Right. I was going to say, what's the odds on the Thunder tonight winning? That's
right.
You're taking a different risk, obviously, but regardless, it's still a risk just to try to improve yourself.
You don't think I've thought about like, can I be a part-time drug mule? I have been asking people of late, and then you can just go into your slideshow. I have been asking people of late, do you think if I got involved with a local gang or cartel or anything, after a few runs and I've made enough money to pay off my debts and get out of my house, get a place for myself and my kids, I could just leave? Does it work that way? Can I give 2 weeks notice to the local gang I'm running drugs for?
Let me tell you why that wouldn't work for me. And that's one word that you've used, and that's run. Because I ain't running. I'll tell you that much. And at some point I'll probably have to, and I'm not going to be able to. So it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for me.
I pushed a mattress in a box up a flight of stairs today to get it into Jen's house, and I just saw my life flash before my fucking eyes.
Moving's the worst, especially fucking moving mattresses and box springs.
Oh yeah,
Gosh,
yep.
it's horrible.
But god damn it, I did it.
You did
and
it.
then couldn't breathe for the next half hour.
We'll take a break.
All right. I don't have. I mean, there's other stuff to talk about this season, but I also don't want to be here all night. So I'm gonna throw it over to you, Jesse, to show me some pictures of your penis.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Here's one where it's bent in two. Here's one where it's twisted.
We were just talking about the twisted penis earlier. Yeah. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen as soon as I bring this.
I like
up
the
here.
season though. While you're doing that, let me sum up real quick. I like the season a lot. It's still solid television. I told you, it won me over with season 4. And I'm still enjoying watching it. I have noticed as we continue to do these reviews, it's very much just like. It's very much a hey Jesse, remember that time when Opie got crowned with a crowbar? That was cool. And hey, remember when Jack set up Clay? That was cool. Like it's very hard to pull anything out of the show beyond, hey, that was cool. Hey, that was sad. Hey, I kind of relate to that. But I guess that's okay.
Okay. Well, as we go through these pictures that I'm about to share, essentially just to kind of set this up for people that are interested, what I do normally is I'll go on to TV Time, which is an app that you can have where you can kind of log your shows that you're watching. But the cool thing about it is each episode you can hop in there and take a look at comments. People will take screenshots. And sometimes TV Time has that stuff ready there. People make memes out of what happened in the episode. And so I went through each episode. So I got about 13 slides here that I'll show. And he just grabbed one from each episode, which this will give us a little bit more grist for the mill. I guarantee you. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And I apologize for the quality. But here's my first.
That's fucking hilarious. All right, so for the audio people, the meme is Clay. It's Ron Perlman, and it says "kills Piney, becomes Piney."
Right,
because now he's got the
oxygen.
The oxygen.
So there is a moment in this season that really just puts an underline on how shitty Clay Morrow is. And that's as he's using the fact that he's running around with an oxygen tank to his advantage to gain sympathy. And there's a moment where he gets dropped off. I can't remember who drops him off. I don't know if it's Tig, whoever. Somebody drops him off at his house. And he gets out of the car real slow. And he's kind of hobbling with that oxygen tank. And as the guy drives off, he kind of turns his head and looks to make sure they're not watched anymore. And then he just straightens up, drops the oxygen tank, and then walks like there's no problem whatsoever to his house.
Yeah.
And right there, you're like,
it was a very Kaiser Soze moment.
Oh my gosh, what a shithead.
Yeah.
All right, we didn't talk about Nero, my favorite character of this season. Jimmy Smits, baby. Yeah. I really, really dug Nero this season.
He's great.
Is a great character. Somebody that when you're kind of preconditioned to be like, what kind of a bag of shit is this guy going to be?
Well, let me jump in here. So I only know Jimmy Smits from whatever television show he was famous for, where he wasn't a bag of shit.
Is it Hill Street Blues?
It might have been Hill Street Blues.
Maybe no. Wait, NYPD Blue. I'll have to double check that, but go ahead.
And then he's also the Alderanian senator that adopts Leia.
Yeah, I was going to say he's Star Wars. He's in Star Wars.
So he's one of those actors who, like, oh, he's a clean cut guy. He's a handsome, good looking. Handsome and good looking are the same thing. He's a good looking, tall, just what a clean cut, wonderful guy. And what a jarring thing to watch him be like a cholo, in this fucking show. He's running a fucking whorehouse. And by the end of it, he's shooting gangbangers. He was just like, "You want to be back? You got me back." Orale. Conan comes in. It's like the whole thing.
Conan showed up. Oh, what the hell? I'm a mark.
Orale, viva la raza.
We also got to talk about the fact that our introduction is to him and Gemma sleeping together.
Hey, baby, it was all consensual.
That's such a great introduction.
Put down the gun.
And so, yeah, I really
People
love
listening to
Nero.
this going, he wasn't that Mexican, you racist. Man, he wasn't in my head.
And he's got this pass to him too. Like he
Yeah.
at one point was running, and he kind of tried to get away with that. He's doing, I guess, something a little bit more legit than what he was. But I think it's like
Well, he's not running
end,
a gang, but
No.
he's running a whorehouse, and the cops are mostly leaving him alone because he's not disturbing
Right.
the peace. You know, it's kind of the same thing from when we talked about the Deuce. You know, it was just like, we're never going to be able to stop whoring, but we would love it if it wasn't in the street where families are trying to shop.
right. But
So,
anyway, love seeing him become part of the cast. He's a very important character in this season. He's going to be probably integral, I would assume, in season 6 as well. But yeah, he's got
seasons. You ever watched season 6? I know you were
No,
ahead.
I've
You
waited.
watched a bunch of this.
I have waited, and
This is the second time. What other shows are you in the middle of that I can make you watch? They can make you stop.
no. I'm not giving you any.
I'm not telling.
Not telling. I'm not telling. All right. So anyway, moving on. Episode 3. I mean, it goes without saying. Live for the club, betrayed by the club, died for the club. Rest in peace, Opie.
Poster boy for don't join motorcycle clubs.
Yeah, right. They're not. It's not going to work out
It
for
will
you.
only bring you pain and hurt you.
All right, episode 4, and the only reason I put this on here was because I actually screamed exactly what was written here by Game of Cyan, which is holy shit, that's Ashley Tisdale. Which, okay, Mark, I don't know if you were watching, because this was probably before you had kids, or at least at the very early stages they weren't watching TV. But Ashley Tisdale, you recognize the name?
Not even a little.
Okay. She is from, I want to say she's from Zack and Cody, but I could be wrong. Disney. And she ended up she's a part of the whorehouse. And it's great. When she showed up in the episode, I was like, holy shit, that's Ashley Tisdale. And she was kind of a,
So wait, this is another Disney kid who decided, let me find like the worst role I can take to get myself out of this.
I'll take it. I'm a fan.
Okay.
I'm a fan of
I'm with
this.
you now.
I am a fan. All right. So anyway, Ashley Tisdale. All right. Here was a great couple of moments in episode 5. This is Walton Goggins, right? That dressed up like a she-male.
Yes.
Oh my god.
She-male, you prejudiced person.
What is she? Okay, help me out. What transgender? Is that what this is?
Well, we don't know if the person is trans or not.
Okay.
But this character is presenting as female and is clearly at one point in that person's life a biological male. Boy, am I tap dancing.
Here, do me a favor. And yeah, well, I didn't, obviously. I just ran right into that brick wall.
Yeah, you really did. You're fucking lumbering over to gays.
That was not my intention. I was just looking. You guys have already prefaced this on many other shows. We use words that we knew prior to the new generation.
You're so careful and you're so deferential. It's hilarious to see you fuck up.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I think you could just we'll go with trans for lack of
either way,
knowing whether or not
Walton Goggins dressed
playing
up here,
playing a trans person, and
they took pictures with I can't remember who it was. I think it was like was it the developer? Mm-hmm. And made it, essentially knocked him out, took some pictures, and are going to use it against him. So anyway, there you go. That whole moment was hilarious.
Yeah, that was good stuff with Walton Goggins, by the way.
100%. All right. So it's pretty easy. This is I think the moment after I was just talking about where Clay walks back and runs into the nomads that had, hey, oh, by the way, you shouldn't have killed her. What are you guys, idiots? So
dude, Chuck Zito never plays a good character. Like Chuck Zito was great, but like his agent was like, hey, we got you another character where you're half a retard.
So
Like,
who was
do I ever get
Tuxedo?
to play anyone smart? No, Chuck Zito. No, you don't. You're always gonna play a raw steak with legs.
I knew I recognized him. What else? Who is
He was-
Tuxedo? Help me out.
This may come as a complete shock. He was one of the Italians in Oz.
Complete shock. Oh man. All right.
You know what he never plays? An Arab.
Well, okay. By the way, I don't know how many posts I had to sift through that said I hate Clay Morrow. I hate him. I hate Clay Morrow.
Sure.
There was a lot of them. I'll just read the text. Gemma and Clay are really the worst. Everything that goes wrong is a direct consequence of their actions. Now, this episode is the episode where Gemma wrecks the car with the kids in the back.
Yeah, I thought she was going to kill the two kids. I was like, Jesus Christ. The writers stop giving a fuck. Like, holy cow.
All right.
Yeah, I don't like dead kids. And when I thought the one kid, when they showed, so the setup is the kids in the car seat, and they pan down, and the kid's slumped over after she's hit this tree.
Which, by the way, she's under the influence. Just to make sure everybody knows, this is not like an accident.
Yeah. So she's slumped over, and the camera pans down, and they show blood dripping onto a tree limb that has pierced the car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and you are made like, I binge watch this, so I'll watch a couple episodes at a time. I can only imagine what it was like to first view this when it was on terrestrial, cable television,
right?
And have to wait a week to see if the kid died. Like, not since I watched pro wrestling, and I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next week on Raw? Have I ever been like, oh my, And I know I said with watching 3 and 4, like, oh my god, I had to go to the next episode. This was one of those where it wasn't quite the same kind of energy, but it was still very much like, I gotta see if this kid dies.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Right?
Why would you do this?
Right.
But yeah, she's a bag of shit. And then I fucking hate the family trope, everything for family. But I'm gonna give Gemma a pass because I'm noticing the subtlety in the writing, which is weird to say about a motorcycle show. But hear me out on this. Gemma doesn't have a lot going on, and she's not a particularly deep person. She's sort of the do nothing queen to Clay's king, and she's holding on to her grandchildren because if they go away, she literally has nothing left. What does she do with her days? She has no job. She has no aspirations. She's essentially Clay's sex doll. And she is desperately clinging to a reason to go on. Mm-hmm. When we find her at the beginning of the season, she's sort of, without an anchor of any kind. She's just kind of just floating around. That's how she ends up with Jimmy Smits. She's very much like, I don't know what to do with myself. And then Tara keeps threatening to take the grandkids to Oregon and all of this other stuff. And Gemma's just like, I need to have a reason to get up in the morning. And my reason for getting up in the morning is slowly leaving. And she's everything she's doing is in the service of maintaining some reason to go on. But she's such a terrible person, like manipulating the kid's mom, and that whole sub story, which, by the way, more often than not, you watch Jax and Jax tries to do the right thing. He's always like the diplomat, the peacemaker. He's always trying to turn chicken salad from chicken shit. And then he throws this poor fucking woman against the wall.
Yeah, hold on to that because we're going to talk about that here in just a second. I guarantee it. All right. Episode 8. Note the difference between profiles for a traitor and a person with deep experience of treachery. So this is Juice, Juice being manipulated by Clay in some way. Clay
Juice so badly wants a dad.
Yeah, he does. He wants to belong.
Yeah.
This was new to me. Did you know this? So that's Otto.
When I realized that Kurt Sutter is the creator of this amazing show. No, I had no idea.
And he is the husband of one Katie Seagal.
Oh, I did not know that either, but that would explain why she got the gig. By the way, him biting his own tongue off, gross.
Oh my gosh, man.
Just
Otto
awful.
Otto has some moments in this, like towards the end of this, of course, it sets up everything, but him killing that nurse.
Oh my God. I don't know if you're going to have to do a slideshow that refers to that specifically, but how dumb is Tara? Okay, so
she's an idiot.
So I have to say this because, again, this is one of those like nerdy true life things, but I got to bring it up. When you, at least at my particular correctional institution, if you are a volunteer, a civilian employee, a contract employee, or an actual law enforcement, you know what we all have to do? The security and manipulation training, which specifically says don't bring things in for the inmates.
Right.
And I'm watching this as somebody who has had to go through that. I have worked at my correctional facility for 10 years. I have had to see this fucking training for 10 years. Every year for 10 years.
I can now do you understand it. Yep.
Yeah. I've watched the same videos. They do not update this thing. So, no, sorry. They had to add the part about trans people.
They call them. They didn't call them when I called them, did they?
They didn't call him she-male. That new character from Marvel Comics.
Let's just go down here. I love
Jesse just melts into the chair. Are you ever coming up to bed? Oh my God, my husband's a puddle.
He's a puddle. What'd you do? You don't want to know.
He missaid a word. Anyway,
I feel so bad.
Yeah, so I've had to watch this thing, and there's a whole thing about like, even if you think it's an innocuous object, as a cross to pray with is, when Otto's like, will you please get this cross? It meant a lot to me, and I just want to pray with it. And you're thinking, well, what possible harm could this cause?
The first question you ask is like, can this cause harm in some way? Can this be a stabbing object? When
you were on a 15-minute watch for observation, because self-harm observation, one of the things they do is they take all of your clothing. There's nothing in the cell with you. You get a safety gown and finger food to eat in a styrofoam tray that you don't even get utensils, because everything can be used to hurt yourself, like a giant cross.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like, Tara's the smartest dumb person on the show.
Just wants to get out of there. She's so smart, as a matter of fact. I think it's in this season where she takes a swing at Gemma with her broken hand.
Yeah. And fucking Gemma is all fucking Floyd Mayweather about it. It's like bobbing and weaving and fucking goes to the body. But yeah, my only point with bringing all that up was the show asks you to believe a lot, to suspend your disbelief in a lot of different ways. And I'm sorry, I'm sure for most normal people who don't work in correctional facilities, they would have thought, yeah, that totally tracks. And I'm watching this going, no fucking way. She had to watch the security manipulation training. She knew better. What a dumbass. Like, when she gets arrested at the end of the season, no fucking sympathy. None.
Deserved.
Just put her away.
All right. Episode 10. This is the moment you were talking about where they took care of Opie's killer.
Yep.
And notice this is something that was pointed out that I caught on to, that they kept talking about through here. When Opie goes in to get killed or to fight those guys, he says, I got this. At one point, when they kill the guard and they take a snow globe to his head and kill the guard that set that all up, Jax says, I got this. Takes the snow globe to the back of the guy's head. Chibs here in front of the one-niners, he takes the gun, looks over at Jax and says, I got this, and puts a bullet in the back of that guy's, or side of that guy's head.
Other motorcycle gang. Like, come on, what the fuck? I gotta bring him home. That's my cousin.
That's my cousin. Right.
Yeah, it's a rough day at the office. Bobby's whole thing of like, we exist because we have relationships with all these other entities, and you're slowly burning every single one of them. This is not good.
Yeah. All right. And episode 11, just before we get to episode 12, that moment when they are having the shootout and they have that like 1980s station wagon, and they
Mhm.
nearly wreck it. It was a great moment from that episode as they're like going sideways.
I very
opening
much had a
fire.
"How are you not dead?"
Well, how is
You-
that car still
you-
functioning? How is
Yeah, how'd you drive away from it? Like, if you rolled my mom's station wagon with the push button starter down a fucking hill, there was no way
it ain't starting. There's no way.
If you drove that car into the goddamn curb, it wasn't starting again.
Anybody dead? All right, let's go. All right, and so this goes back to the moment I told you to kind of put a pin in, where he slams his ex.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were they married?
By the way, she looks like fucking Misha Tate. Every time I see her, I'm just like, how'd they get Misha Tate for this show?
Misha Tate. What was she in?
She is a former Strikeforce and UFC fighter.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
She was, I believe, at some point the bantamweight champion.
This was okay. All right.
Before Ronda Rousey turned her arm into Oso but Silly Buddy.
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah. Google Ronda Rousey Misha Tate armbar, and she fucking wrote "hello" with her arm.
She like stretched it out.
It's gross.
Did jump rope. It was crazy.
Misha Tate's like, I'm never gonna be able to play the piano again.
Oh, just about like Tara's hand.
Yeah.
So didn't he like this is the moment in the end of this episode where a lot of people are like, okay, Jax is turning over this leaf that's just not good. He pumps her full of like heroin, doesn't he?
I want to say it's meth.
Okay. So well, either way, she's on the straight and narrow. His ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, whatever she is, his baby's mama, is on the straight and narrow, and she makes a lot of progress from where she was. Actually, I think she was gone a couple seasons, and finally she starts coming back into his life. She gets a needle
full of drugs jabbed into her arm for the crime of wanting to make sure her kids are safe.
Right. And she goes and talks to Tara about it. Thank goodness. I'm so glad she did. I was worried that
people with active fucking drug problems their kids back. They treat this poor woman like she killed God.
Yeah. So Jax, has her up against the wall, and then in order to just kind of wreck her life, he puts a needle in her arm, and it's just horrifying to watch him do this. This guy who everybody's rooting for has now got this streak. As it says here, he became a monster. Go ahead.
Again, the writers of the show, and will make him say things like, and no one will believe you because you have a positive drug test. And I'm thinking to myself, again, we give drug addicts their kids. This system is so broken.
Yeah,
and the writers of this show are just very naive.
So there you go. There's our photo journey. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. But yeah, I think what my takeaway is from the from watching this season, like I said, Nero is a great addition to this season. Watching Jax try to make heads or tails of what's going to happen and actually going down this darker path, and kind of actually bringing some legitimacy to what Bobby is saying is kind of scary. And I don't know what season 6 is going to bring. Of course, we got to worry about Tara, but that poor girl's going to jail.
Yep. No one's going to leave her booty hole alone.
And now didn't we have the,
I'm like, did he not hear me?
Oh, I heard it. It just took a while.
It's like Jesse says, like doing math. Like, oh, he means
he said booty hole.
He means a fist in the butt.
We have the nurse's brother who showed up.
Yeah, Donald Logue. Hey, do you remember where Donald Logue is from?
I've seen him in so many things. Help me out. We covered.
Speaking of a fist in the butt, Dummy.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
That's Anna Kendrick's boyfriend who has the sex doll that comes to life.
And she eats his gummies.
Yep.
She had some bad gummies. We covered that. Ladies and gentlemen, go back in the archive. You want to hear some good discussion.
Listen to me, Jason, and Jesse talk all about the Bechdel test and women's liberation and sex and all kinds of female stuff. We were very she-males that night.
Oh, shit.
I
can't believe you said that.
Listen, I'm an asshole. I got you, buddy. I won't let you stand out there and be murdered.
So I assume we're going to see more of Donald Logue here as season 6 hits.
He's probably he sounds like he's going to be one of the big villains of season 6.
Right. I'm excited, man. And then, yes, finally now. My wife was just asking me tonight, can you watch an episode? I said, nope, I got to talk about season 5. And then season 6 is raring to go.
Right after we're done here, you're going to run right in there, jump on top of her and go, season 6, here we go.
You're like, get off me. I'm trying to sleep.
I'm watching TikTok.
Yep. That's one of those two things. Guaranteed.
I hear you, buddy. All right. Anything else?
That's it, man. I had a good time. Good discussion. Fun season. I think as far as seasons go so I'm going to rank it, out of the 5, I would say this is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to beat that season that ends with the CIA and the Galindo cartel.
I don't know, man. I think what
Opie
for me,
Opie shooting Clay and all that.
That's good. It's good. I think what puts it over the top for me is we have a lot of bigger moments. The death of Opie was huge. We have Tara going to jail. We have the introduction of Nero. I think that's why for me personally, this is going to probably, but season 4 that we were talking about? I think that's probably going to be second for me. I can tell you what's last. My baby.
Never go back to Belfast. I don't even want to go to Belfast in real life now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I look, I'm enjoying the show. I'm enjoying talking to you about it. I've sort of let go of what can we pull out of this to make some real hay out of, instead of I'm just going to spend an hour talking about a show with my friend. Because it's funny, because I'll get approached by people at work, who know that I do, I comment on television, I comment on movies, and that's sort of what I'm known for. And they're like, oh, did you watch this? Did you watch that? And like, I'm busy. I have stuff to do. I have clients I have patients I have to see. I have notes I have to write. I have to walk around this giant ass facility. Like, I don't have time to sit and talk for an hour about a show. And so I kind of have to be a little rude to people. Like, yeah, it's great. And like run away. I have to tell this one poor deputy who's just like, it reminds me of the character from, I don't remember if it's Bob's Burgers or no, it was an episode of Family Guy where they had the convenience store clerk and Chris ends up, first Meg is working there and then he gets her fired and Chris is working there and all they want to do is talk movies. And he was like, did you watch this movie? Yeah, I watched the movie. Did you love it? I did. Yes, that's amazing. Hug me. He's one of those guys who so desperately wants to know my opinion on something, so I will validate his opinion. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone.
I've got work to do.
I got work to do. So this is one of those rare opportunities where I'm not so much doing a show as I'm taking an hour and I'm talking about a show that I like with my friend.
I love it.
And whether or not that's good podcast, who can say? But
for those
that's all that matters.
That's right. That's right. For those of you that are listening that I work with, don't approach me.
Well, first of all, if they approach you, they've entered your house illegally. That's a huge
problem. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Jesse, we need those TPS reports. I'm in my underwear in the basement of my house. How did you get here? How did you get past my? How did you get past my wife? I handed her a new phone with TikTok on it.
Ah, damn it!
She made me oatmeal again.
Number 1 hit, baby.
Speaking of which, this Sunday, you and we have our first Sessions podcast.
That's right. It should be fun, man.
I don't have art for it or anything or a theme. This is going to be weird, man. This is going to be a very weird podcast for us because, like, we know what we want to do, but it's also going to be very, like, off the cuff.
Very off the cuff.
Yeah. This is the least planned out podcast I've ever done.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun. So what that is, it's Sessions, the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, the Radulich and Network podcast album. Jesse and I are going to each episode take an element of the last 15 years or 20 years I've been doing this podcast and use various artificial intelligence programs to write and record songs. And these songs will make up the Radulich and Broadcasting Network album.
This is going to be great. It's going to be fun.
First one we're working on is More Dinosaurs.
Okay, great. That sounds...
I have been... Whatever it is we do after that, that's all I've been thinking about since we came up with this idea.
More dinosaurs. I like it.
Yep. It's an old damn you. That's an old Long Road to Ruin gag. We were reviewing the Jurassic Park trilogy, and my comment about the second one was they put no thought into the story. They just added more dinosaurs. M-O-A-R, more.
M-O-A-R. That's right.
More dinosaurs.
It's gonna be so good.
It's so funny to have reviewed the bike riders on Monday, because all I could think about, like, as we were talking about the bike riders, and you had Mac on the show going, yeah, I've met actual motorcycle club guys. They are not smart. These are not fun. These are not interesting individuals. Like, ouch. And all I could think about was like the bike riders' approach to motorcycle clubs and the history therein was very much point the camera at the history and let the history tell you the story. And if it's not that interesting to you, that's okay. It is very real. It is very thick. And then there's Sons of Anarchy, which is, let's take that same story, but soap it up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just make it overly dramatic and sprinkle in a little Fast and Furious and yell family.
Family.
Ugh. If I was ever a movie executive and somebody wrote me a script and they used the word family more than once, I would punch him in the solar plexus. Speaking of punching people in the solar plexus, next week, on Monday, we have A Quiet Place day 1. And that's it, because it's 4th of July week and I'm not doing any other recordings. How about that?
Wow. Look at that. Look at that week.
Yep, just one recording. So we got Sessions on Sunday, and then Damn You Hollywood, A Quiet Place, day 1. And then yesterday, like I said, Monday, we did the bike riders. That's what's going on with me. What's going on with you?
Well, Monday, so Dorian was on 2 shows on the W2M network then, apparently, because he was on the bike riders and he was also on Gargoyles with myself and Alexis Hana, where we discussed.
Why? I got told I could put up like the video. Like, we don't put up the video when we do that. Is this your thing now? You want to start throwing up the raw video?
They wanted to do that for a promotion, as a matter of fact, for something that Dorian had going on. I didn't care one way or the other. I just said, Alexis, you can talk to Mark. If he wants to put the video up, then great, go ahead.
Yeah, and like a week later I did, because I had no time.
Promotion. That's all right. That's okay. But Dorian came on, and it was great because I got to have the opportunity to talk to him for the first time on source material. And we talked about Gargoyles, and that was a little before, or let's try it again, a little bit after my animation watching. I'm sure you probably didn't catch any Gargoyles when you were close to 20. And
I listened to you guys talk about like the Disney afternoon and all of that. And like I said, by the time Gargoyles hits, like, by the time I get to high school and college, there are certain things I'll watch because they are hilarious to me, like Pinky and the Brain. Like, that was that was in college, and that was me and my friend John cracking up laughing at this show that was aimed at kids, but still very much an adult show.
Right. This was
I wasn't watching purely children's fare at that point.
Well, and again, the thing is that it flew under my radar because I wasn't changing the channel and watching it. However, you know, after learning about it, it's very much a comparing it to Batman the Animated Series. That's kind of where Gargoyles was. It was a more dark and drama-filled tune. Yeah. So animated show. But anyway, so you could check that out. But before you do that, if you're like me and you didn't know much about Gargoyles, I put together an AI primer. That's right. Sunday, I released the AI primer for Gargoyles. And Mark, if you want to learn about Gargoyles, I mean, I know you're probably itching to learn about the Gargoyles. Well, just in case one day you're sitting there, you're like, man, I've got an hour of free time. Hot damn, I want to learn about Gargoyles. You can turn that on. You can listen to me talk for probably about, 2 minutes. And then the rest of it is AI narration. And it's not that stupid AI narration you hear on TikTok. No, this is some quality stuff. I made sure I changed up the voices. You can learn about all the characters, the setting, and the series. And not only that, also the comic that preceded what we talked about. So Jesse, Gargoyles.
All anyone cares about is when are we getting another time to eat? Like maybe time to eat two,
time
to eat again,
time to eat, just like time to party.
Time to eat, yes. You should do one called Time to Eat Dessert.
Dude, man, I've got so many desserts I'd love to just put out there and make a whole.
Is there one where like, you know, Mindy's like, we have no actual dessert, so here's a piece of fruit and you like eat her?
There's a story I'd love to tell in song form about how I was given $1 to eat 6 pieces of cheesecake in college, and I did it. I earned that dollar.
Please
I had
call
no
that song.
problem.
Please call that song "Cheesecake Fatty."
There's a guy I watched in a chat. His name's Fatty Eating Pie. That would be me. That would be me. I am a fatty eating pie, baby.
That feels like
Anyway.
a porn name.
It should be.
And Debbie Does Dallas 2000 is Fatty Eating Pie, and Christy Mist.
Oh man. Christy Canyon.
That's gonna be my porn name. I am not gonna lose any weight. I am gonna perform porn in this current body shape, and my name is gonna be Fatty Eating Pie. And that's how I'm gonna make my money and pay for my divorce. This divorce was paid for by Fatty Eating Pie.
That's perfect. And upcoming on next Monday, we have myself, Evan Bevins, and Chris Armstrong getting together to talk about Unspoken Issues, the X-Men Adventures. We took 3 issues from the X-Men Adventures comics that came out and talked about those. These were based off of the animated show from back in the 90s. So if you're interested in that, check that out. It's 90s comics all the time on Unspoken Issues. And then at some point, we're going to have, that's right, Snap Material coming at you, talking about the Marvel mobile card game, Marvel Snap. And that's probably coming up here.
If you got time this weekend, Jonas will be around. I'm bringing him to Jen's house for the first time this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So you got time Saturday?
I do.
Jonas will have his phone. I'll have my laptop.
All right.
I don't want to actually spend time with my kids. Feel free to.
I want to have somebody else do that for me.
Feel free to play with my child.
Yeah, send me a message when you guys are all settled in and are able to do that. I'll gladly sit down and play a couple games with them, because we need. I mean, that was the plan a while back. We just haven't ever ironed out the time. I'd get him in there for a battle. It'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, that's what we have. That's what we have on tap over there on the Source Material Comics podcast feed.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us here on TV Party tonight, or just a good old-fashioned Mark and Jesse mess around. My favorite kind of mess around, I'll tell you that much. For Jesse Starcher, I'm the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.